Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Spiritism Talk series hosted by the United States Spiritist Federation every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I am very happy to host this live presentation by Livia Uehara, who will be talking about willpower, self-discipline, and character reformation. Let's all give Livia a very warm welcome. And before she starts her presentation, allow me to introduce her. Livia Uehara holds a medical degree from ABC Foundation School of Medicine, São Paulo, Brazil. She specializes in internal medicine and hematology with 25 years of experience. In her clinical years, her main area of interest was in malignant hematologic diseases and in oncology hematology clinical trials. She has been working in pharmaceutical companies for the last 12 years to pursue her passion to discover new treatments for patients with cancer. She was born and educated in a Spiritist family and is currently part of the board of the US-Spiritist Medical Association, that's SMA-US, a nonprofit organization whose focus is bridging medicine and spirituality. Hi, Livia. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Great. So, everybody, please take this opportunity to send in your questions during this presentation using the chat window. Livia has reserved time to address your comments and your questions once she concludes her presentation. Livia, it's all yours.
Good morning, everyone. It is a real pleasure to be here. I have to thank you so much to the USSF for the opportunity to bring my reflections to share with you. And the reflection of this morning was really based in personal confrontations and many questions that I have been receiving from my colleagues. We have been studying together the gospel, and many of us, as disciples of Jesus Christ, we are facing many times so many struggles. And nowadays, with what we are facing in the world, so we need to be strong enough so how to use the gospel, how to face the life. Could you kindly pass this slide to the next one? So I'll be based in a giant, the Apostle Paul. So if Paul had that conflict with him, so when I read for you to understand, it's really important for you. So Paul was saying in the letter to Romans, I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do. And if I do what I do not want to do, I agree that the law is good, as it is. It is no longer I myself who do it, but it is sin living in me. For I know that good itself does not dwell in me, that is, in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do. This I keep on doing. So if that giant was facing that conflict, can you imagine us? So why we are struggling, even that we have been studying in the Spiritism, the gospel, using the knowledge taught by Jesus Christ, imagine us facing and try to change. So how can you change that pattern? What do we have in us that is impeding us to fulfill or to pursue a different pathway? Can we go over for the next slide? For the reflection of this morning, for the tenets of the principles of the Spiritism, I'll be focused on two of them. All of them are important, but for today to remind us, because all of us, we know of our immortality. So we are eternal beings, immortal spirits. We continue. We were born simple and ignorant, and we are here as imperfect spirits, trying to get better, to reach the perfection. as the permission of God. Can you kindly move to the next one? So I was looking for another support. So how to face those struggles that we have? So I went to another apostle, and now an apostle of the Spiritism, which is Leon Denis. Leon Denis, on his book, The Problem and Life and Destiny, he was sharing with us what are the potentialities that we have as children of God. What are our inner tools to prepare our evolution? Because if we are here to evolve, what do we have in us that is going to help in us to pursue that process of evolution? Are we using, do you know about this? Are we using those tools that we are given by God? We have seeds. We are spiritual beings in the pathway of relative perfection. And we have that seeds of the powerful potentialities. How to develop this? For today, we have a few minutes to talk about it. So we'll get 4 of them. All of them are important here. But I will take 4 of them to go further, to dig in, and to share with all of you, which are willpower, thoughts, free will, and conscience. We can move to the next one, please. According to Leon Denis, the willpower, or we can call the will, it is the greatest of the soul's potentiality. So with the power of our will, we can interfere in our thoughts, we can change our existence, we can drive our existence, we can move on the direction of our purpose. So this is a sovereign attribute that we have that is going to help in us to change our inferior nature that we carry on incarnation by incarnation. We need to pay attention that the willpower can oscillate. What is that? Because we are imperfect beings. We are still growing and learning. It's not the question of being evil or good. It's the question that we are children of God in evolution. So now we need to pay attention that some factors can interfere in our willpower, which is the strongest, the greatest potentiality that can help us. So for example, when we are under stress, when we work a lot, when we are irritated, when we are facing difficulties in life, our trend is to not be focused in the objectives of our life. Leon Denis also says that we have 2 pieces in us. It's like we have the pieces, which is the inner peace, is the point of connection with God, is the more profound, is ourself, where we connect with God. And we have the more material side of us, which is connected with the material reality, that it's what we need to be here incarnated in Earth. We are oscillating between both sides of our lives. When we have time to that connection with God, with the tune, with our good side, decide to evolve, to progress, we can move on better in the material side. But at the other hand, when we are only connected to material side, attached to the things of the world, without considering our power, so what are the chances that we are going to move, evolve, or progress? So just reminding you, one of the questions that we have in the Spiritist book, the 911, so sometimes we are try to change our behavior or whatever it is. Let's say I want to get fit. I want to do exercise. I want to change the way that I eat. I want to change the way that I think. So we think that we have that willpower or that we are working on that direction. However, many times what the Spiritists, they teach us is we are only saying that we have the willpower, but it's not something that comes from inside, from our bottom, from our inner willpower. So pay attention when you are trying to change something in your life. It's very important that we pick 1 or 2 things, not trying to do everything, to try to focus and use our willpower in the direction of something that's really bothering our personality, that is not helping us in the direction of our spiritual progress. We can move to the next one. The next slide, please. Another potentiality of our soul is the free will. We need to discuss here is the free will that we have is relative, okay? Is relative to the level of evolution of our soul. Let's say a newborn cannot use a free will. This is not something that we can ask for a newborn, because they don't have another potentiality that I will discuss further to take the actions or the decisions in which direction they will move. The Spiritists, they say, do human beings have free will in their actions? They say, since they have freedom of thought, they also have freedom of action. So we can do whatever we want to do. However, this is the action. The consequences of that are completely linked to our first decision. We cannot change the consequences if you have the causes. We need to have that direct relationship. So how to get that free will? Through education. So how can we get that through education, Livia? So through education is expand your knowledge, but not the knowledge to show that you know everything. The knowledge that changes your heart, that changes your behavior, that inspires you to get better. It gives you the intellectual freedom to conquer the truth. We are looking for the truth, which now is still a relative truth, because we don't have enough knowledge to get the real truth. However, more knowledge, more responsibility. So using our free will to limit our appetites, make the effort to be free of ignorance and passions. We are attached to those things. Replacing sensations and instincts by reasoning. Using our, I would say, to make that decision, we are going to use another attribute that I'm going to talk about, but to make the decisions. So how can we conciliate our free will in the limit of God's law? So we can go against God's law, but we have the consequence of that. But we need to be sure or to know that our knowledge, we have limited or relative free will. We don't have complete free will. It's really related to the level of knowledge and understanding of everything and acceptance and practice of God's law. So when the total freedom of our free will is gonna come, as soon as we incorporate 100% of God's law in our behavior. So we are really far away of that, but we step by step walk through the direction of our evolution, on the direction of the evolution that God is waiting for us. Let's move on to the next, please. Another potentiality, all those potentialities were based on Leon Denis, explanation. So if we knew the importance of our thoughts, we would be really careful with it. So in the Spiritist book, we have that question. Is there anything in human beings that escape all limitations and of which they enjoy absolute freedom? Yes, they enjoy unbounded freedom in their thoughts. So we can think whatever you want. But by the fact that we can think whatever we want, it doesn't mean that we should be doing that in the way that we do, with the passions, with the imperfections that we have. So Emmanuel says that our thought, we can consider this thought as electromagnetic waves, electromagnetic power. It's more as distinct in the primitive beings. As human beings right now, we are not more primitives, but we jump for intelligence. We have intelligence. In the middle, in between, we have illusions. And for the evolved spirits, we have thoughts in divine glory. So remember always, the thought, they have a a creative powerful. So our thoughts, they have form, they express in our environment, even that we as incarnated, we don't see it. The spirits can see our thoughts. They can see the way what we are thinking and what we are projecting outside of our mind. So they have four. So how do we get those thoughts? We use the cosmic fluid to perform and to make our thoughts. Reminding you, during our reincarnation, for example, the formation of the new body needs the power of the thought to build up the new body during the reincarnation. Is by the use of the thought, is the power of the will that it's used for that. Also, our thoughts have a strong power over not only us, but in our environment. André Luiz says that our thoughts, our mind, which is a product of our spirits, producing the thoughts, has direct interference in our body. And in the chapter 8 of the Evolution in Two Words, he mentions that through the mitochondria, which is one of our organelles, there is an action of the mind through the mitochondria in the states of the body. So it's really important, the quality of your thoughts, the way you think, it's really important, not only for you, but in the environment that we live. We can move to the conscience. It's another potentiality that we have. Which is conscious? What is conscience? It is an attribute of the spirit. It's our highest authority. So is our moral sense. This is a spirit attribute as well. It's pre-existed and survived to the body. It's when we know and evaluate what is wrong and what is right. We know whatever we are faced, we know if you look inside of us internally, because God's law is inside of our conscience. So we know facing things in life, we put our attention, we know what is wrong and what is right. And André Luiz also in Evolution in Two Words, a very important book to read. So when we incorporate responsibility to the conscience, we have the awakening of our conscience. So during our process of evolution, we have that expansion of our conscience. And that expansion comes with the knowledge, with the use of love, with all the attributes that we receive as talents that we receive from God. So I mentioned, although I'm not mentioned and discussed for the love that we have been discussing many of our lives about love and about the pain, we know the importance of both of them in the process of our evolution. It's just because we are focusing more in the words of the Apostle Paul to get the deeper in our reflection related, how can we use those potentialities to change the profile that we have, the way that we live, why we are not getting the results that we are expecting, even that I say that I want to change. We can move on to the next slide, please. Another important potential, the discipline. Discipline for everything. And when I say, sometimes when we talk about discipline, people think, oh, I cannot do anything. I'm a slave of my discipline. No, it's not about that. It's the ability. What is the discipline? When you define that you are going to do something on the direction, using your will, using your free will, using your conscience, respecting God's law, and you go in the direction. We are here to evolve. We are here to progress, right? So why we are not using the tools that we receive, the talents that we receive to do what we are supposed to be doing, considering that we are eternal beings, that the life that we have here is temporary. We are not here forever, right? This is the place that we live for the learnings for our progress. So let's use the discipline. So let's focus in what we want to get closer to Jesus, to get closer to God. So it is about doing what you know you have to God to do, even that you do not feel like it, that you don't want to do it. So okay, from now on, I'll not drink anymore. From now on, I'll stop smoking. Whatever you decide, pick one thing. So describe, filter distractions, prioritize you, pay attention in you. It's about you. It's not about to do, because sometimes we are working outside. We are doing charity. We are helping people, but we forget about us. And what about us? What about the change that we need to be doing inside? So filter the distractions. Take time for you. In the airplane, when we are at risk, first you put the mask on you, and afterwards you put in other people. So pursue the goals you have set for you. What does the person want to become? Who you want to be? So remove yourself from temptations. What is that? So if I want to stop drinking, if I go out with friends that everybody drinks, I will not stop drinking. So remove the temptations. Be surrounded by people that have that same mindset, that want to grow together with you. It's going to be not easy, but it's going to be together with the same kind of energy. We can move in the direction that we move. And another, I would like to call your attention. It's not easy to have discipline, because sometimes, I try. Discipline is a habit. As any other habit from this beginning, we are going to fall. We are going to fail. It's part of the process. Keep doing. Don't stop. Repeating. You are going to cover previous conditioning. What is that? What is a conditioning? It's a learned behavior. So we have behaviors that we bring from other incarnations, and the ones that we build up in this incarnation. The ones that we build up in other incarnations are in our unconscious mind. The ones that we have here, they are in a more superficial unconscious mind. So when we change, we are looking to change our behavior. It's normal to fail. Continue doing. Go on the direction of your evolution. Pursue what you define. Discipline on thinking, on speaking, on acting with your body. And it's not a potentiality, but we can use the temperance. So it's the moderation in everything that we do. It's not to be hurting you because we didn't get. No, be kind with you. Love yourself. The discipline with love. There is a common, in Spiritism environment, they say that Emmanuel, the spiritual protector of Chico Xavier, used it to talk about discipline, and discipline is just to keep up with what you decide to bring you in the direction of your spiritual evolution. This is what we are doing here. We can move to the next one. So we talk about some of the tools that we have to evolve, okay? But how can we, knowing that, use that in us? If you don't know yourself, if you do not change yourself, if you do not take time every day to know yourself, do you know yourself? Really? Do you have time for you every day in your routine? Waking up, bring kids to school, working, busy. Do you stop 15, 20 minutes every day? What did I do today? This is St. Augustine in the Spiritist book brought some ways to help us in the everyday, at the end of the day, to assess our conscience. What did I do today? Did I act in the way that I am looking for? Did I do something to someone that I will regret? So check what you are doing. See where you are and where you're gonna go. If you don't know where you stand, how can you change? If you are not awake for you, how can you change what you don't know? So it's really important, know yourself, know thyself. Take a look, what am I doing to me? I am working or living like a robot? Or I am a children of God, looking to learn, to progress, to evolve, to become the best version of ourselves. The next, please. Other important point, to know the rules of the game. What are the rules of the game? What are the God's law? What are the natural moral laws? So if we don't know the rules of the game we're playing, if you are in a soccer game, if I don't know the rules, how can I play the game? So for today, for all the reflection of today, we were more focused on the progress law, because we are talking about to use our tools, our inner tools and potentialities to go in the direction of our progress and evolution, using willpower, self-discipline to get what we are looking for. What we are looking for now, using the God's law, using our free will. We have the right to not follow God's law. We have the right. But what happens? The point is, when the difference from planets where the individuals that live in it, if they follow God's law, which is not, those laws were not only applicable in Earth, they are applicable in the universe, are universal laws based in love. And I will not go over all the laws right now, because that is not the goal, but you can look up for that in the Spiritist book to check all the laws. You need to look up for the rules of the game to know, am I following that? Am I suffering what I'm facing now? Because the suffering that we have not only have those caused in this incarnation, but always in previous ones, when each person needs to check what is happening. Are those things happening? Am I respecting God's law? Am I accepting those laws? Obeying, but not obeying in an intelligent, in a conscious way, in a way that we are working for our own progress. We can move to the next one. So we have discussed all the potentialities mentioned for Leon Denis. We have talked about the laws, right? So we are looking for a character reformation to change the way that we face life with the behavior that we have been repeating and repeating and repeating, incarnation after incarnation, right? What is working and what is not working? It's not to become good, it's to become a more conscious, close to God, looking to work in the way, in the pathway of our progress, so we can be perfect. This is the chapter 17 of the Gospel according to the Spirit. So on the road to become a good person, I'll not read it. You can go and read the book. But I will read the first paragraph. The truly good person is the one who complies with the laws of justice, love, charity, in the highest degree of purity. If they examine their conscience concerning their own actions, they will ask themselves if they have violated those laws. if they have practiced any evil, if they have done all the good that was possible, if they have voluntarily disregarded an occasion to be useful, if anyone has any complaint to make of them, and finally, if they have done others everything that they would wish done to themselves. And you can say, maybe I'm so far away of it. So do I. So do I. So we are not perfect. So we are here to learn. If we are not there, but if we know we have the rules, we have the potentialities, the talents received, right? We have the rules of the game, and more than that, before that, I want to talk about something. Can you move to the next slide? We are all the time talking that we are in transition, that we are living from a planet of past and atonement to a regenerating planet, right? We are all the time, we are changed the gears now. However, I don't need to describe what is a planet of past and atonement because we live in a planet. It's just to look around, watch the TV, check the websites and whatever it is. So, but we need to know that the transformation that we want to see outside need to start inside of us. The planet does not have any kind of transformation if we do not change each of us. And remember something, when you change, people around you can change. If you change one behavior on you, that you see people around check how you are, the energy that you are vibrating, the frequency that you have, just pay attention, how you can influence people around us. So it's the same for the planet. So if we are waiting for a magical process where God is going to come and we do something to change our planet, no, the change starts in us. We have the potentialities, the talents, we have the rules. Are you prepared for that change? Are you prepared to be the person who fits in the regenerating planet? Are you prepared? If you are not, which is no problem on that, start your transformation right now. If you cannot do it alone, look for help in the church, in the Spiritist Center, with a psychologist, to become a better person. And to become a better person, because sometimes we have the other side, oh, I'm a bad person, I do not fit in that society. All of us, we have our shadows and our lights. What you need to do is accept your shadow, embrace your shadow, put your light, even that your light is tiny, but the shadow is the absence of light. Put your tiny light and show to yourself your shadow, embrace and work on it in the direction of God, in the direction of Jesus Christ. Are you using your potentialities? You can go to the next one. And who is, so the question 625, what is the most perfect type that God has offered to the human being as their guide and model? Here he is, Jesus Christ. He is our guidance. So when you are alone, when you are feeling sad, when you look at around, no help, pray from the bottom of your heart. You are going to be hurt. Ask for help. Ask for the spiritual protectors, your guardian angels, to show you what you need to do. Because sometimes we look for help waiting for a miracle, but reminding you, in Mark 8:5, we have the parable of when Jesus Christ multiplied the bread. So, but before multiplying the bread, he said, how many loaves do you have? So the disciples needed to bring something to him. What do you have? If you have will, it's a beginning. It's a chance that you have to become a better person, to become the good person you deserve to be, because most of our suffering are based in our behavior, not as a kind of provoked or I lost the name now. It's like it's a consequence of our actions. There is no one waiting to say you did that wrong or right, unless our own conscience saying, what is the direction? We are children of God, created to evolve, to achieve the best that we can. This is the message of hope that I would like to bring for you in this morning. And I'm so thankful that you take some time to listen to me, that you took time of your life to pay attention to me, to release the distractions of life that all the time were calling us. The illusions of life, Maya, is calling us all the time, and we forget about us. What about you? What are the actions you're taking to change you in the direction of Jesus? Thank you so much. I'm here completely open if you have any comment or question.
Thank you, Livia, for the reflections you provided. Please stay tuned for our Q&A session, but first, I have some announcements. First, Introduction to Mediumship, a free virtual course for beginners. The US-Spiritist Federation is thrilled to invite individuals eager to explore the realm of spirit communications according to Spiritism. Check out the new course at learn.spiritist.us or scan the QR code on the flyer. Second announcement. Please check out the podcast-like series Psychology and Spirituality, A Bridge to a Better Life, based on the works by Joanna de Angelis. A new episode appears every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, available on YouTube and Spotify. Third announcement. The Spiritist app, Be My Hope, is available now on the App Store or Google Play. This app offers uplifting content in a collection of videos, daily messages, and audio materials. Download it now. Finally, on the screen, please note there is a QR code. If you want to help the USSF produce more publications and promote Spiritism to everyone, please scan the QR code on screen for your support. Next, we will address comments or questions from the audience. There is still time to send in yours. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Okay, Livia, first question from the USSF. Is there a clear distinction between using our willpower, which we need, versus forcing ourselves to change in ways that are artificial? You may be muted. Yeah.
I was. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes. That process is a slow process, okay? It's not to be hurting yourself. So pick something when we are, first of all, you have the free will, okay? If it's not your time to change, don't change. Because we need to be prepared for that, right? Because it doesn't mean that when you decide to be a better person, that the thing is gonna be better. By the opposite, better we are, stronger we need to be. Okay? Force yourself, let's say, I hate to go to work out, and I force myself. Find a reason. Why should, okay, I don't wanna weight lift, but I can run, right? I can walk. Look, start for something. Find a reason instead of force yourself. Find a reason why you should be changing. Let's say I want to continue here where I am, okay? Ask yourself, am I prepared to the consequences of continue here, or what could I gain for my change? Instead of forcing you, let's use a different word. Our brain, the suggestions that we give to our brain, we're really smart when we don't want to change. We tell stories to our mind to justify that we don't want to change. It is okay. If you don't want to change, don't force yourself. But ask yourself, am I happy where I am? Instead of forcing you, then you're going to move.
Okay, thank you. Very good points. Next question. This is from Daniel Santos. Thanks, Livia. Do you think that willpower is like a muscle that can be strengthened with exercise, or is it a limited resource that needs to be managed carefully? Okay.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Very, very good question. Willpower, will, it's an analogy, okay? Yes, more you use, more your willpower will increase, okay? So from the scratch, from the beginning, it's gonna be tough to change. I always have the analogy when we are, for people that like skiing, when you go, we have the hill down, we have the pathways where the hill is already, the pathway is done, but there are other pathways that are not, they're tougher, right? What is going to happen for someone who is a beginner? Of course, I'm going to start in the one that is already there, right? I'll not try to challenge myself to do, because when I challenge ourselves more than we can, is another way to say, you see, I cannot change, it's not for me. This is another telling story that we have. So we come back because we also live in survival. Okay, so as a survival is a mechanism of defense. Every time we try to change something, our mechanism or defenses say, oh, you are in risk, you are in danger, you cannot change. So we come back to our previous behavior. Yes, it is a willpower. More you use, more you remember the reasons you are doing something, more you're keeping up. Use your discipline. We do not do only willpower, it's not enough. Use your discipline. We don't do what we want, we do what is right and what we need to be doing. It's the plan. What is your plan for your life? Whatever it is, whatever you decide in any plan that you have decided. Yes, Daniel, it is. Thank you for your question.
Mhm. I imagine it's very easy for people to be too ambitious, as I understood your analogy of taking the more advanced downhill slope that's very hard rather than starting with the easy one.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is one we sometimes we have two things. One of the things is to prove to ourselves that we are incapable, which is not true. So we need to
Hmm.
develop the to be humble,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
And it's
absolutely.
another way to develop the humility.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you. Next question from the International Spiritist Council. Can you give a specific example of how our free will can run into limitations within God's laws?
Excellent question. So let's say that from now on you decided that you are going to change the gravitation law, that the planets, they are not going to move, in the way with the plan. We have no power. We have no power over God's environment. We have the free will for the things that change our environment, our lives, the people that surround us, and we have the consequence of using it when we do not respect the laws. I don't know if I was clear in my answer.
Well, would it be something like this? If I'm a fanatic and I insist gravity does not exist, and then I charge off a cliff to prove my point, then gravity works.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank,
Fantastic. Thank you, Peter.
thank you. Okay. From the US Spiritist Federation. how to differentiate, how to differentiate self-forgiveness and acceptance of ourselves with accommodation and laziness with our way of being.
Joanna De Angelis talks about it. Okay, um, we make mistakes every day during our lives in previous incarnations because this is part of the process. Okay, of learning. We were created simple and ignorant in the way that we have the chance to decide whatever because we just don't know. We are trying, right? So when you are in the process of trying and you make mistakes, it's very important to forgive yourself. But what is the next step? To try to do differently. You're not going, what would be laziness? Okay, I'm here, have other incarnation. So let's stay here. I will come back. I'll do it again. You know, I will continue doing what I'm doing. This is laziness. You are allowing yourself, you are accepting to continue on the same pattern. Looking for the good, the gospel according, one of the slides that I showed is you see a good person, the one that tries to be better every day in small things, tiny things, real tiny things. Okay. So if you make a mistake and you're trying to get better, let's say you fall again. Oh my goodness, I did that again. I don't know why, because we have conditioning. We still have more time doing the wrong, but not because we are bad people, because we are learning than the good. As soon as you start repeat and trying to be good, you're going to cover a former conditioning and building up a new condition, a positive condition. Remember I mentioned at the day that God's law are incorporated in our behavior, that we don't even think to do what is right because it's completed, incorporated in us. So that is the difference. So you try to move, to change, to not be lazy, to not continue where you are. You have if you want to do it, it's okay. It's your turn. You have the chance. God give us the free will. You have that free will. I don't want to change now. I will wait a little bit more. It's okay. But remember, whatever you decide, are you prepared for the consequences of stay where you are?
Livia, you touched on something, if I may, I'm just going to throw in a quick question. I've heard people who want to criticize reincarnation argue that, well, if we can keep coming back, then we don't really have to try very hard. So it's sort of an incentive to be lazy. Do you think that's true?
I think it's a kind of ignorance in the way that it's a child mindset. It's a
Mhm.
immature mindset, which is okay. Okay, it's not a judgment. It's just an observation of a fact.
Mhm.
As soon as our conscience expand, as soon as we start knowing the law, studying, expanding our conscience, we leave that state of thinking. Because if our goal, if we are immortal spirits, if the purpose of the incarnation, as one of the questions of this, is to evolve, we're just procrastinating. It's a kind of procrastination, okay? It's a
Right.
behavior, it's a pattern. So to change the pattern, tie yourself, because this is another thing. That is the reason why it's so important to know yourself. We find the explanation for whatever we want when we would like to keep in the same place we are. We find reasoning. We give, oh, it was because this and that. We find a justification to our own mind to justify why we don't want to move. It is okay. But as soon as we wake up, we move on. It's part of the process of expansion of conscience.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Thank you. Next question from the United States Spiritist Federation. Besides mitochondria, organelle found in cells, are there other ways in which thoughts can be transmitted through the body?
Thank you so much for your question. This is what Andrea Luis brought to us, okay? We still don't know exactly how. Oh, yes, we have, for example, in the mechanism of disease, we still don't have a physiopathological description in the books in the way that this happened. But we change, for example, the neurotransmission with our thoughts. People with negative thoughts as a habit, they have different ways of working off the neurotransmitters, for example, but we don't know in the cellular mode the way exactly how it we still don't know. Okay, how it happens as a mechanism. But yes, our thoughts has complete interference in our body, in the way that we feel, in the pains that we have, how our disease, let's say that we have a disease, karmic disease, that we were born to have that learning, but we can make it even worse, make it worse with our thoughts. We have the process per se, but we can even get worse if we have negatives and with hatred, with remorse, with resentment, we can make it even worse.
This is a fascinating subject to better
Yes,
understand how the biology is affected by the thoughts that are transmitted.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, we have time for one more question. This is from the International Spiritist Council. Why do people change slowly? Wouldn't we be better off if we could change at a faster pace?
So, yes, it would be better if we could. But what happens is we are still spirits from the beginning. We were created, okay? We came from the primitive worlds. We are in an autonomous planet. Most of us, we came exiled from other planets because of our behavior and the way that we are. The process of change is slow. Okay, why? Because we still have the previous conditioning. The conditioning is the behaviors that we have in our subconscious mind. They are subscribed in our perispirit. They're recorded there. Okay, so it's much easier to repeat what we have than to create, as I mentioned with the analogy of the skin. Okay, that is the point that it's really important to pursue with new habits. Look out for things. Pick one thing. Because if we pick a lot of things, we are going to give up. This is another story that we're, oh, I cannot do, it's too much for me. So pick one thing that is really bothering you. Pay attention. Use your power, willpower. Use your discipline. Pay attention. Concentrate. Sleep and wake up. Think that you want to change this and see if it's going to be slow. It's going to be faster, not so faster as we would like to have, because nowadays we push a button, we have Amazon, whatever we want, not in that pace. When I say faster, I'm talking about incarnation, reincarnation. We have centuries trying to change. Just pay attention how many incarnations we are having, and we are still trying to change. How many centuries Jesus came and brought the teachings, and we are still here crawling, trying to understand what he taught us. So the process is slow, but you can make it faster if you want, if you decide to dedicate to it.
Strong emphasis on responsibility. Yes.
Yes. I love all
Oh,
the questions were so wonderful. How many good questions. Oh my goodness.
good, good. I'm glad you like them. All right. Well, thank you, Livia, and thank you, everyone who has joined us for today's talk. We appreciate everyone who follows us on the Spiritism Talk series. Next Saturday, on May 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we will have a different program. It is called US Spiritist Movement in Action. Beatrice Lopez will be interviewing Christina Cabral, Vicky Dutra, Maria Zago, and Mateos Pesana about the upcoming Spiritist Youth Retreat, which is now in its 10th year. From time to time, we will do a special program like this one to highlight different events and activities in the Spiritist movement. In 2 weeks, we will be back with another presentation on Spiritism Talk Series. Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and we will end with a prayer. So if you are able to, please close your eyes. Dear God, we thank you for life. We thank you for your divine laws. And may we do our best each and every day to understand ourselves, to understand one another, and to understand your divine laws and how they operate within our daily lives. May we continue and do our best to cultivate mindfulness, peace, love, serenity, discernment, and so much more. May we cultivate love within ourselves and for one another. And may we understand and incorporate forgiveness. Thank you, dear God, for all that you provide. Amen.